boleh minta kudu saya kenal aja barang ini. Harus cari dengan saya cari dua sih.
Assalamu alaikum everybody. Welcome on board. Before we start the topic for today, do you have any questions? Anyone has got any question?
Yes, sir. You have shared the topic very late today. Why?
Yes, I was just a bit busy. That's why. This one actually we had decided in the last time session that we will just try to finish off the next the remaining of the things. Okay. Actually, the topic of this blood transfusion and related subject is very vast. Okay. So there are, and we are dealing this thing daily. So in our first session, we discussed something about the what are the effects of anemia and what can be the problems related to anemia, what are different types of anemia, how an anemic patient affects anesthesia management. Some of the points we have discussed, some of the points are still remaining. So today we will start with the what is the concept of blood and blood products, transfusion, what are the problems related to it, and later on we will try to focus some of the clinical aspects as well. Okay. So if I ask the first question, that what are the different blood products which we use? Yes, please. Yes, Tayyab.
Sir, we can use different products. It could be in the form of whole blood or different blood products from that whole blood. That could be red blood cells,
I will
plasma.
interrupt you. That actually the concept of whole blood transfusion is almost obsolete. Okay. There is no indication in which we are transfusing the whole blood. Okay. If there is no indication like that, always we are focused on blood products. Like for example, if in the virtual sense, if we are talking about anemia, we are supposed to give PRBCs. Okay. And so on and so forth, according to the different clinical scenario, we are transfusing different things. Okay, so this is the first point need to be corrected. Yes, please continue.
That can be RBC that you have already told. That could be in the form of platelets or the plasma, cryoprecipitates. These are the products which we can use from the, which we can transfuse basically.
Okay, so what are the different points or different concepts which we need to know about this? When we take out blood from the patient, okay, so what is usually the next step? What we do with that?
Then we separate the plasma and the packed RBCs.
Okay.
Then from plasma.
Yes, from plasma.
And then from plasma, by the process known as thawing, we can collect platelets and
what is yes, but before that, one thing is produced. What is called as what is that? No. Have you listened of platelet rich plasma?
Yes.
What is this?
I only know about the platelet rich plasma, that it increases the platelet from 50 to 60,000 and
no, this is you are talking, that is mega unit.
That is mega unit, yes.
That is mega unit. Platelet rich plasma is the first product which is separated. and it's being
Yes.
used, PRP is
In
being
the
used for,
cosmetic surgeries or the, yeah,
yes,
in the bones for, yeah.
in the
Okay.
chronic pain, platelet rich plasma is also being used in uh, this one uh, treatment of joint pains. Okay,
Yes.
so okay, uh, so what is what is cryoprecipitate?
So it basically composed of four things, which are 1 millibrand, factor 8, fibrinogen, and factor 13.
Okay, so what are different indications for this one
Uh,
cryoprecipitate?
uh, Cryoprecipitates can be used in the type 1 1 millibrand disease. Cryoprecipitates can be used in the uremic patients, in the CRF patients, in which there is a defect in the qualitative defect of the platelets. So platelets are not required. So we can use the cryoprecipitate in the active bleeding condition.
Mhm.
Cryoprecipitates can also use in, as it can, it contain factor 8, so in hemophilia 8 as well, hemophilia A, which is the deficiency of factor 8. So here we can use the cryoprecipitate.
Okay,
And also in the fibrinogen deficiency, if we don't have the fibrinogen factor itself, we can also use cryoprecipitate. So
okay,
basically the in the factor deficiencies we can use cryoprecipitate.
okay. So this is we will come back to each of the component in detail. Okay, I'm just trying to go step by step. So what is and what about FFPs? How will you differentiate between FFPs and cryoprecipitate? Because they are
FFPs contain all the factors, all the coagulation factors, but cryoprecipitates do not contain all the factors. It only contain factor 8 and factor 13, and along with that, it contains fibrinogen and 1 millibrand factor. But in FFPs, we have all the factors which we need for coagulation. This is what I know.
okay. So anyone wants to add something? Okay, so another preparation which you told was platelets. Okay, so platelets, how what is the difference between the storage for platelets versus other blood products?
The platelets are being stored at the room temperature, but the other products are stored at different temperatures. So this is the difference between the platelets and the other products.
That's because so platelets are actually very sensitive. Okay,
Yes.
so platelets are very sensitive to temperature. If they are stored at low temperature, their function is inhibited. Okay. Okay. So, Rabia, would you like to add something?
Assalamualaikum, sir.
Walaikum. Yeah, like Tayyaba told almost correct concept of PRP, but a little in a different way. So, I will ask you this question, Rabia. What is platelet-rich plasma?
Sir, basically, when the PRBCs are separated from the whole blood, the
Hmm.
plasma remaining is processed, and it is centrifuged, and it contain concentrated plasma, which are used in different conditions like a pair of tendon, muscles, ligaments, and nowadays cosmetic. It is being used cosmetically as well. So it is a plasma which is rich
Rich
in
in platelets.
platelets.
It
Yes.
is plasma. So Tayyaba, you understand? So this is not platelet concentrate. Actually, it's plasma. Okay, so you are right in your basic concept because name is telling this thing. Okay, so it's actually it's being used like a growth factor. Okay, and it creates.
Yes, sir. It releases basically when we give platelet plasma to any patient. The platelets injected over there, they release growth factors over there and enhance the repair or strength of that tissue. So it is the basic concept of using platelet-rich plasma inhalation.
Okay, so this is all about platelet-rich plasma. So as I told that when we donate blood, there are a number of products which are formed. Okay, so first question which you should be knowing that where how these products are stored at different temperature. So we talk that usually the cryoprecipitate and FFPs, they are stored at very low temperatures, okay, frozen, and the platelets is stored in like room temperature, okay. So there is a disease which can be transmitted through it because of the temperature. What is that disease? What is the name of that disease?
To the transfer of platelets?
Yes, there is one disease which is transferred through platelets.
Sir, that is
Syphilis.
syphilis.
Syphilis, okay.
Sir,
So-
one thing according to the separation and temperature, can I add something? Baki cheezein, the
Yes.
rest of the things are discussed. So when one whole blood is taken, the 250 ml of PRBCs are extracted, and rest and which contains 70% of hematocrit, and it is stored at saline preservatives are added into it, and the amount becomes 350, almost 350 ml, and it is stored at 1 to 6 degrees centigrade. The rest of the plasma is centrifuged, which contain platelets, and
Platelet-rich
contains,
plasma, platelets and
yes,
plasma, okay.
and plasma. Yes, sir. And it is stored when this platelet-rich plasma is again centrifuged, then we obtain platelets from it. And the platelets contain only 50 to 70% ml of the plasma and stored at 20 to 24 degrees centigrade. Because platelets are very sensitive, they cannot be freezed.
Okay.
And they are used within 6 hours of separation.
Okay, so that's what you
and,
were that's what you were telling. Just all of you can have a look at it. Okay, so we take on the whole blood, okay, and then it is centrifuged as you were telling. So packed cells are usually they are stored at 4 degrees centigrade, and there is I'm just trying to recall that we can store if you are decreasing the temperature less than 4. If you can tell there is a storage limit which is increased at this temperature, it can be stored for this
Up to 10 years.
yes. At what temperature it is?
Between 1 to 6 degrees centigrade, but with the addition of glycerol, it can be stored up to 10 years.
Okay, no, that is not related only to the preservative. It is related to temperature as well, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, temperature is way less than 6 degrees, I guess. I
Yes.
don't know the exact temperature, but
if anyone can Google to find the confirm answer, okay. In the meantime, that this is a concept which you should know, that at this temperature you are saving up till this time, okay. And if you are decreasing the temperature or adding something like Tayyaba told, we can increase it. Okay, so that is the first thing which is produced is platelet-rich plasma, and then out of that plasma is separated. Platelets are pooled, and then plasma again rapid thawing. What is thawing and cooling? That's can someone explain what is this thawing?
the thawing is just to it's a way of placing the frozen plasma into room temperature or a bit warmer fluid, so we can get the gelatinous precipitate in the form of cryoprecipitate. This cryoprecipitate is again processed, and then it is freezed at minus 18 degrees and then stored to protect the von Willebrand factor 13, factor 8, and fibrinogen in it. And this is basically the concept. Thawing is basically not to defreeze all the FFPs, but it's just to get the precipitate of cryoprecipitate by little. If I'm clear or not?
In simple words, you are warming it, and then again you
Yes.
are freezing it, warming it and freezing it, and it became like a precipitate. Okay.
Yes.
And the thing which is remaining from that, albumin and immunoglobulins and coagulation factors will be formed. Okay.
Yes, the rest of the FF components.
Yes. So some words about the preservatives. Which preservatives are being used?
Sir, in the
So these are CPD, CPDA, and SAGM, Adsol, in the form of Adsol 1 and Adsol 3.
Okay, so what is the basic concept? What is the reason for different preservatives, and what are the problems associated with it?
They are basically for giving the condition for the red blood cells to survive, and CPD is citrate, dextrose, and phosphate, and they maintain electrical neutrality, and also they supply the energy for RBCs to remain alive for some days.
Like you don't want the blood to coagulate, and you don't want the RBCs
and
to
also anticoagulant.
This is the basic concept for it. What is something new, or like what's difference in Adsol?
So they Adsol are basically, they extend the preservation time. Like CPDA preserves in its preservation time is 35 days, but Adsol with Adsol we can do it for 6 weeks.
Okay, so actually there are not too much details is required, but you should know the basic concept of it. So like if someone asks what is the reason for putting a preservative, so it is as I told you, there is citrate. So what citrate cause?
Citrate,
this behave like is anticoagulant.
Okay, so when we are transfusing it, what will happen?
It can cause it will bind to the calcium and cause calcium chelation and hypocalcemia if
Okay.
massive transfusion can be given to the patient.
This is one aspect.
It is usually metabolized in the liver.
Okay.
If the liver is not functioning well, only then it will cause hypocalcemia.
Or in the
binding
case
of
of the
calcium
massive
will occur.
transfusion.
Zishan, the binding of calcium will be there. Okay, it is not related to liver metabolism. Yes, you are right. It will be metabolized to.
Sir, by liver metabolism, if liver is defective, then it can cause the acid-base disturbances. The citrate toxicity with leading to hypocalcemia, that is something else. And if a patient is having liver disease, as Dr. Zishan is saying, that can lead to acid-base disturbance. That citrate is metabolized into lactate.
Bicarb, normally.
The liver.
No, citrate.
No, normal liver.
Is it converted into lactate or bicarb?
Sir, it will convert into bicarb in a normal liver.
But initially it can cause acidosis. Okay, initially it can cause.
Initially acidosis, then alkalosis.
Yes,
Metabolic alkalosis.
yes, that's what I just wanted to tell. Okay, Zishan. So citrate, if you are giving too much blood, it can bind calcium, and there will be reduction in ionized calcium. Okay, so that's why whenever you are transfusing blood, you need to check the ionized calcium. And usually it is said that after 2 units you are giving it. Actually, this is not the rule. This is not the technical answer that if you have given 2 units or 3 units or whatever, even maybe if you are giving blood even 1 unit very fast, maybe transiently at patient at risk, the ionized calcium level if decreased, it can cause significant problems. Okay, it will
Yes,
have.
sir, the rate is written in the book is 1 unit per 5 minutes can cause citrate toxicity.
Yes, so that's a little actually a little bit of practical question. This is okay. So this is
Earlier, you were asking about the how can we use PRBCs for long-term time. It's
yes.
actually glycerol. If glycerol is added and the blood is stored for at minus 65 degrees Celsius, then it can be used for 10 years.
Yes.
It's minus 65 for 40% glycerol and minus 120 degrees Celsius for 20% glycerol. If added
Yes,
to PRBC.
because I had read it many years ago, so I was not able to recall it. So this is a concept that low temperature, you can use it for a longer time. Okay, so this is it. So we discussed something about, what are the alternatives of giving FFPs? Asim bhai, what are the alternative if you don't want to give FFPs? What else we can give? Because FFPs are very common, sir. Am I right? Asim bhai, are you here? Atik bhai, would you like to tell? Yes.
Yes,
सर
sir. Yes,
इसमें
sir.
प्रोथ्रोम्बिन कॉम्प्लेक्स का concentrate है
Okay.
and the second one is we can also give vitamin K.
Vitamin K. Yes, because FFPs, it's a broad. One aspect will be related to the one pathway, factor 7 pathway, and the other will for the intrinsic pathway. Okay. Though these two will be covered. So what else is being given in certain condition where FFPs are also used? What is that condition in which FFPs? Yeah, no, Zishan. This one, desmopressin. In certain conditions where we are giving for replacement of factor 8, we are also giving desmopressin in that place. Actually, desmopressin, how it works? Desmopressin actually increase the release of factor 8 from vascular endothelium. Okay, so this is just some brainstorming about these products. Okay, so
But desmopressin can only be given pre-operatively because it takes time to work.
Yes, and it's always being given. It's always being given on
in infusion form.
Sorry, on advice of hematologist. Okay. So this is how.
We can also give, sir. We can also give factor 7 A concentrate as well.
Yes, Nova 7. Why factor 7 is more important than any other factor? Jameel, would you like to say some word? Because I know that you have very good concept of it. Please have few words.
The short half-life.
No.
This
This
is
is
short half-life.
no.
Sorry,
This is. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
please.
This is not the reason. Jameel, just tell some words about the cell-based theory of coagulation. That's the reason. That's not the reason that we are giving factor 7. We can give any other factor as well, but specifically factor 7 is the one which will, which is the leader of all the friends. So it will initiate thrombosis in the way which no other factor will do. Am I right, Jameel? So what is the cell-based theory? Initiation, propagation. Do anyone knows about this theory? Cell-based theory of
Yes, sir.
yes, please.
It is initiation, amplification, and propagation.
Okay.
Initiation is that the tissue factor is produced in the in interstitium at very low level, and it is not in that much amount that it can trigger the coagulation pathway. Basically the factors coagulation factors can reach interstitium, but the amount is not that much to trigger the coagulation. But when the breach or any trauma to the endothelium occurs,
Tissue
tissue
factor is
factor is
released.
exposed. Yes, it is exposed, and the platelets are activated. And when platelets are activated, they release further activation release some factors which cause activation of further platelets and coagulation factors, especially 5 and 8.
Mhm.
And this is amplification. Then I guess propagation. And then when ultimate result of this is that the platelets are activated. And third step is that all the platelets aggregate at the site of injury, and different coagulation factors they covers platelets and activated. So ultimately, there is activation of factor 10, and which activates prothrombin, and prothrombin activates fibrinogen, and fibrinogen is polymerized by factor 13. So fibrin mesh is formed and clotting occurs.
Okay, so what will be the role of factor 7 in it?
Sir, factor 7 activates factor 7 basically activates factor 10, and which activates with the help of factor 5. With the help of factor 5, it activates prothrombin, which is factor 2, into thrombin. And
Actually, it is amplification. It is the process
Yes,
of
that is
amplification that is like whatever is starting, it is amplifying it. Okay, so that, and it is a, you can say, connection between the because the previous concept was intrinsic and extrinsic pathway. Okay, so this is a new way to look into the process of coagulation, and they found that factor 7 is the one which can trigger when there is too much bleeding or coagulopathy, when nothing is working. So giving factor 7 to the patient will initiate the fire. Okay, so this is the basic concept of using factor 7. That's why we use Novo 7 where nothing is working. So we are giving Novo 7. Okay, so this is I just wanted to tell few words about why we use factor 7 concentrate in it. Okay, so it's clear to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so who will be telling some words about platelets? Because usually this question will be asked that how how much, for example, patients platelets are 5,000 or 10,000, whatever the figure, and you want to increase it. How will you decide how many factors, how much you would like to tell?
So there are different triggers of transfusion of platelets. Prophylactically, we can transfuse platelets when the platelets counts are less than 10,000, and when the count is less than 50,000, then the conditions we can transfuse are major surgery, and for putting any central neurexal block, CVP, taking any biopsy intra-abdominally.
I'm sorry, you told less than 50,000. Actually, it will not only the number, it will be the type of the surgery, bleeding risk, okay, overall condition of the patient, trend of the platelets. Because
and also massive. Yes, sir.
Yes, one point that is there any problem if you are giving platelets to any patient?
Sir,
Whenever you are giving platelets?
Chance of sepsis?
No.
Chance of trolley?
No.
they can cause thrombosis.
Yes.
Thrombotic risk.
Because infection or this will give some time to you. But if you are giving platelets, and it is initiating because platelets you are giving, platelets can itself cause thrombosis. Okay, so you have to be very clear about why you are giving platelets. Like the example for this is transplant surgery. Okay, in transplant surgery, if you are giving too much products, especially platelets, it can cause thrombosis, and it will be one of the factor for thrombosis of the anastomosis. Okay, so usually whenever they do liver transplant, actually they want to keep one step behind. They are following it actually according to thromboelastography or ROTEM. Okay, and they don't want to correct it. They want to be a little lag. Okay, so that's what I just wanted to tell you, that you don't have to correct the numbers. You have to correct the condition. You have to see if you are giving something, what will be the effect for it. Okay, that's why unless it bleeds, there is no indication for spontaneous, like only number correcting the numbers, it is very low. Okay, or you may give it at slightly higher number if there is more risk or there is some incidence which has occurred. So that's what I wanted to tell. Okay, please go.
Yes, sir. And also, sir, when there's exactly when there's DIC and ongoing bleeding, we can give platelets at the amount less than 50,000. And also during massive transfusion, we have to keep there is a protocol or target to keep the platelet above 75,000. So if platelets are less than 75,000, we will give platelets. And in the eye and neurosurgery, we
Would
have
you
to
like to
platelets.
give massive in massive blood transfusion? Would you like to give platelets according to the hemostatic transfusion protocol? Because if there is isovolemic blood loss, like a patient who was normal, okay, and suddenly he lost a lot of blood, so in that scenario, it is advisable to give hemostatic. Okay. Otherwise, in any other condition in which there was a patient was comorbid or had some baseline problem, now it is not necessarily you are giving hemostatic. Now you can follow according to the thromboelastography or according to the like need. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sir, excuse me.
Yes,
The
Tayyaba.
hemostatic, you means hemostatic like 1:1:1, which we follow in the trauma, in the massive
Yes,
hemorrhage?
you see, the concept is that
Okay.
the patient was absolutely fine. Okay, there was nothing, no coagulopathy, no disease, no pathology, and suddenly there is isovolemic, not isovolemic, that like fresh blood loss, like in a condition in which a normal patient suddenly bleed. Okay, so now it is better to give hemostatic. Okay, because in that scenario, it is better to give 1:1:1. That's what is hemostatic. Okay, because there is
Okay.
unless you don't transfuse everything, there will be then the patient will be going
The dilutional,
yes,
dilutional
dilutional
coagulopathy.
coagulopathies. Okay, so that's my point. Actually, this may not be asked in any exam, but as anesthetist, this is the information which you should know. And the people like Zishan or anyone else who are going for talks, there can be some station for you, Tayyaba, as well, because some people have already passed the talks exam, only they are going for Viva. Or even the people who are preparing for MCQs, these are high yield points because they will ask you about blood and blood products. And actually, despite having so much clinical experience, I always forget a number of things. So it is very important to recall again and again so that you don't forget. Okay. So
Yes, sir.
because according to the blood, this replacement therapy, there is no rule. It is in the clinical scenario, will tell you that how much, like in some hospitals, I'm saying this by fun, that they say that, okay, blood has been arranged or blood has been released, it's in the OR, so it is better to give. So this is not an indication anyways. Okay, so you have to be very meticulous what we are doing. Okay, sorry, Rabia, please continue.
Sir, one question here, please. Sir,
Yes.
why the transfusion strategies are different in the case of massive hemorrhage and in the case of suppose in a patient bleeds in the OR? The patient was absolutely fine, like the patient who just got a road traffic accident. and then he or she started bleeding in the OR. But the transfusion strategies differ. In the OR, we don't give 1:1 in OR. Am I right?
Actually, we should. That's what I'm telling you. That you have two ways. Okay, one way you are anticipating that this patient was otherwise fit patient, and he just bled a lot. Okay, so you are anticipating that all the factors are the whatever volume is remaining in the blood is isovolemic. Okay, so in that way, it is better to even actually you are pointing out correctly that usually we don't give it, but actually we should. It is better if it is according to the like hemorrhage classification. It is class 4, and you are only correcting this one only the
RBC deficit. Yes.
RBC deficit. But actually if you have given just tell me one thing, because in Pakistan we are usually not giving PRBCs. Majority time we are giving whole blood, so that's why you are not noticing this thing. Okay, but if you are giving PRBC, usually it's needed, because it
I practice this, that whenever the massive transfusion is required in patient, elective patient or a patient in hospital, then I do practice this composition to avoid further
actually, one
dilution
is the
complications.
logistics available, and one is the correct concept. Thing is that you should have thromboelastography. Simple as that. You should be in trauma patient. The correct answer is that there is no anticipated. Yes, if you are only saying, I'm again repeating this word, that if you are having a trauma patient and you are predicting that it will be like that, you can do like hemostatic. Otherwise, all blood and blood products transfusion should be directed through either clinical or through thromboelastography, which we will discuss shortly. Okay, Tayyeba?
Okay. Yes, sir. Fine.
Because
Thank you.
if you are giving only, because in again I'm repeating that in Pakistan what we are getting is the whole blood. You hardly will receive PRBCs. So that's the thing is a little bit different. But in international standards, usually we are getting PRBCs. So when we are getting PRBCs, it does not have the other products. Okay. So that's why we are giving separately cryoprecipitate or FFPs or platelets according to the scenario. This we face usually in, for example, a patient with placenta previa, placenta accreta, who bleed like 5 liters of blood in no time. So in that patient, we have to give all the products without waiting for the thromboelastography. So in that scenario, we will not wait for the things to happen. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. So platelets, other important points, how much platelets are given to increase a certain number. Yes, Rabia?
So 1 unit increases 5,000 to 10,000 platelets. And if we give platelet apheresis unit, then it increases about 30,000 to 60,000 platelets with 1 unit. And the indication dose is 10 to 15 ml per kg. And the indications are thrombocytopenia, dysfunctional platelets, any.
No, I'm sorry. What about mega unit?
Sir, mega unit contains the amount of platelets equivalent to 6 to 8 units of a whole blood. So I guess this is mega unit increases about 50 to 60,000.
50 to 60,000. Are they separated from one donor?
They are separated from different donors, multiple donors.
Okay, so what is difference between then pooled platelets and apheretic platelets? Apheresis is through one patient.
Apheresis is from one patient, exactly.
Okay, and pooled is the other one. So it can be either
pooled
way.
Is from multiple.
Yes. Okay. So, okay. So what else? There is one important point which I discussed with you before as well, that platelets, when they are given, they should be given through what?
They should be given through filter.
They should be given through new filter. Okay.
New filter.
Don't give platelets through a used filter.
The same
Because
filter as of the blood.
it will be destroyed through the filter pore.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So whenever you are giving platelets, it is better to give it through new filter. Okay. Don't give it through which blood has already been given, because even if you flush it, still debris will be there. So blood can go, PRBCs can go. Okay. But platelets will not be able to. They will be lost. Okay.
They will be lost.
And usually when you are giving platelets, there is, as Jamil told, that there are chances of TRALI, and Tayyaba told that there are chances of sepsis. Yes, so these are the problems which are there. But the point which I told you at that time, that whenever you are giving platelets, there are chances of, like one example is HIT. Okay. So if
exactly.
patient is having a HIT and you are giving platelets, so it will add like, just like you are adding fire. You are adding fuel to the fire. Okay. So this is anyone wants to add something?
Sir, one thing which I want to add, that the two things, which is the TTP, thrombotic thrombocytopenic purpura, and the hemolytic uremic syndrome. These are also because of the thrombocytopenia, but we don't give platelets until unless there is active bleeding, and there are some conditions in which we can give the platelets, but we don't give platelets in these two conditions. This is what I read.
Because this is
yesterday.
immunological mediated, and platelets are being destroyed. So when there are immunosuppressants you are giving. Okay.
We give immunoglobulins and plasmapheresis are done for them.
Yes.
Because autoantibodies towards platelets are formed.
Or I, on a funny note, on a lighter note, the people not from Pakistan may not understand, but if you have platelet counts decreasing, you can send the patient to London. The platelets will be revived. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Now all the patients whose platelets are going down, so you can send them to UK. So all the platelets will become normalized. So this is just to refresh, because our three times ex Prime Minister, his platelets were going down. Okay. And as soon as he landed UK, he ran away from Pakistan saying that I will die if I'm not being sent to UK. And he was absolutely right. So as soon as he was landed to UK, suddenly his platelet count became normal. And since 2 years, he has not even visited the doctors. So sorry for the political comment. Okay.
Well, there is only a political reason or some logical reason?
There is no logical reason, of course. Maybe he was under stress, so it was immunological mediated. So as soon as he reached UK, the immunological system became corrected and the platelet destruction is finished. Okay.
Okay. Sir, one thing Dr. Rabia told, that the platelet dose is 10 to 15 ml per kg. I was remembering this dose about the FFPs. Is this the same dose for the platelets as well?
No.
Sir, I read from an article, it is same dose for both.
Actually, I tell you something. I have not read it, but I'm telling you logically. FFPs we are giving according to ml, and platelets we are giving according to the units. I have never read in the ml. Maybe you are correct, but even if it is correct, it's not necessary to mention in ml, because we always give platelets according to units. Okay.
Exactly. I was a bit confused about it.
No. You don't be confused. Platelets we always transfuse according to the units. Okay.
Okay, sir. That's what I also know.
The basic concept will be, it will increase, 1 unit will increase 5 to 10 ml. That's it. Okay. So you should be knowing this, and according to the number you want to increase, you will be giving the units. ml is for FFPs or cryo precipitate. Even cryo precipitate is being given in units. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
No, sir, not in unit, but actually the cryoprecipitate increase the unit of a specific coagulation factor. Like we say that,
Sir,
but
it
like,
is-
for example, for
Dr.
factor 8,
Patel,
for factor 8, you know, if
cryo-
PCC, sorry.
Yes,
By the way,
Carry on, carry on.
I'm sorry, Jamil.
Sorry,
Please
sorry.
start from again. Start from again. Because we did not hear you. Yes, please.
Sorry, before I was as a passive listener, I was with somebody, no, cryoprecipitate is not giving according to also as given to ml, but as a unit when we have to improve the specific number of a specific coagulation factor, like factor
bottom
8.
line. So Jamil, bottom line is again units. They are not given in. They are. We are not.
Yeah. Like when we don't have PCC for hemophilia A, then we alternatively give the cryo, and then its cryo increase 5 to 6 unit per ml. Okay.
So
And,
again, bottom line, I will again repeat that cryoprecipitate and platelets, whenever they are being given, they are usually given according to the units. Okay.
Sir, cryoprecipitate,
no,
dose of
but when we
cryoprecipitate
give
is
for
1 unit per
1 milligram
5 to 10
factor, then we will not increase the unit only. Then we increase only the number of 1 milligram factor.
Yes.
We don't have any number of 1 milligram factor.
Okay. I
Then they will
understand.
give
I
as
understand your point.
ml.
Yes, I understand your point. Actually, because usually cryoprecipitate, where we are using it? What are the indication for use of cryoprecipitate? Yes, Jamil.
Hemophilia A.
Okay.
And for 1 milligram factor, well, it's just type 1. And also if there is a deficiency of fibrinogen or fibronectin.
What is the main component of cryoprecipitate? Main component.
Factor 8.
Factor 8 or fibrinogen?
Fibrinogen, sir.
Fibrinogen.
Might-
Okay.
Yes, sir, because
Fibrinogen.
this is also given in the acquired hypofibrinogenemia as well.
Yes, I'm telling practical thing in like like when we are following the thromboelastography. Okay, so whenever there is a problem in alpha angle, so it is related to fibrinogen. Okay, so at that time we are giving cryoprecipitate. Okay, so I correct myself that he was right that we give cryoprecipitate in ml, but usually this ml is directed by the units of either factor 8 or whatever we want to raise. Okay, so usually because they are given as 10 units, and usually it is 200 to 300 ml. Okay, usually it's given like that. So how
Sir,
many?
I read the dose is 1 unit per 5 to 10 kg. It's according to weight.
Okay, so again the point is again the same, that if we are giving it for hemophilia, okay, all von Willebrand disease, as much as we want to increase the factor, as much as volume we will give.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so we say that 1 ml of cryoprecipitate will increase that much volume of factor 8. Am I right? So this is how.
Yes, sir. 1 ml of cryo increases the 4 unit of factor 8. So in this case, we will determining on the basis of factor 8 the dose of the cryoprecipitate.
4 unit 4 m.
4 units of factor 8.
Okay. So you understand.
Yes,
So
1 ml, yes, 4 to 5, yeah, 4 to 6, you know.
So,
units, if we
we
need to.
come to conclusion that how we give cryoprecipitate. Okay. So cryoprecipitate, who will tell about thromboelastography?
That actually is the bedside of test where we have to check the different blood products deficiency, means the what you say the what you say bedside test during a massive or transfusion or major surgery like cardiac surgery or any transplant surgery. If we need immediately in the OR about to know the status of different coagulation or blood products or what we have to transfuse, then we do the TEG. TEG is thromboelastography. Graphically, we will see a picture when we take some blood from peripheral line, and there is one cup. We put this sample 5 to 10 ml in that cup, and then there is one needle that's rotating in this cup, and there is some formation of the clot according to around this needle, and the acceleration of this needle is changed according to the clot, and it's graphically showed just like showed in the this screen of the laptop. And
like it is just
first-
like as much as the clot will be getting strength, as much as
Yeah.
they will be changing. Okay, so when this reaction time is because of,
or reaction time is due to initiation of the coagulation.
so
It depends upon the how the active are the coagulation
yes,
factors. in
so
the
this will
blood.
be if, for example, in thromboelastography we see that reaction time is increased. So what factor, what thing we will be giving?
We will give the FFP because we have
FFPs,
less
okay,
number or less active coagulation
and then
factors.
this angle, alpha angle.
Yeah,
So
alpha
before
angle
that
shows
is
the
free time.
platelets and fibrinogen interaction.
Okay,
And if
so fibrinogen. So there here
Yeah.
we give cryoprecipitate. If this is increased or decreased?
this should be increased between 60 to 70 degree. It's normal, you know, and its
No,
time is
if it
2 to
is,
4
if for
minutes.
example, just a second, if it comes here, where
Mhm.
will you give, or if it come here, will you give?
No, when it is down, then will give. It will, if go to left means more steeper, then
Yes.
it's okay, you know. Yeah. When
Yes.
its angle is less than 40 or time is more than 4 minutes, then we will give the cryoprecipitate.
Okay, and then
And
comes the
our time
maximum
is,
amplitude.
our time is for 8, sometimes 8 to 10, or sometimes 6 to 8 minutes, depends upon the different hospitals protocol.
Okay, so
Then
what
we will
about?
say MB, maximum amplitude.
Mhm.
This maximum amplitude, how the platelets are active, you know, and how the clot is is strong,
Strength,
and
I guess.
that means how the platelets
You
they
can
are
say clot strength. Okay,
clot strength by the platelets. Yes. Clot
so
strength going
if
up.
maximum amplitude, like if in thrombocytosis, it will be going very high. Okay, and in thrombocytopenia, it maximum amplitude will not be achieved. It will
It's
remain
more
here.
horizontal. Yeah.
Okay.
The height will be less. Yes,
And
sir.
then so FFPs, cryoprecipitate, and platelets. That's how you will decide what things, 3 things you have to give. Now come the lysis. If it is becoming, but it is breaking like this, it is coming like this. Okay, like this. So it means the lysis is so at that time you are
L by
giving,
30 and L by 60.
yes.
After 30 minutes or after 30 minutes, we say how the strength of this clot, how the avidly the fibrogen is bound with the platelets. It's if it's less than L by 30, that there is fibrinogenolysis, then we give the transmanic acid just to increase the strength of
Antifibrinolytic. Okay.
antifibrinolytic also.
And in membrane, what is the mechanism of action of this one, tranexamic acid?
We told that it's inhibit the plasminogen to convert into plasmin that will dissolve the fibrin bound with the platelets.
Okay. Okay.
It's
So
the it's the TPA inhibitors, TPA inhibitor, tissue plasminogen activator inhibitor.
yes.
Yes.
Okay. So So we are trying to go step by
Sir,
step.
one point is missed, the K time, which is the how rapid the
Kinetic
clot,
time.
basically it tell the kinetics of the
Yes.
clot formation, the how rapid the clot is formed. The normal is 1 to 3 minutes, and when it is prolonged, so it is telling that fibrinogen is deficient, so we will give cryoprecipitate.
Okay.
Yes.
So because this thing can be asked in MCQ, this thing can be asked as a Tokes station, and they can show you the graph, and they can ask the question just like we discussed. Okay. So
if you have some abnormal tech picture, you can just share that we can, maybe we talk about some when there is more or time long. If you have, please, or less
Jamil,
amplitude.
because there are a number of things we have to cover. This just a second.
Okay, sir.
Uh,
Other is rotum. Rotum is the opposite. That is the cup is rotating, and that it is graphically show tag, but that is meter only measure and give the conclusion of that test results. Rotating thromboelastometry, rotum.
Actually, rotum and thrombelastography basically are one thing. They are different companies. Okay. And in what thing, in which
Mechanism of
in which cup is moving?
rotum, and needle is rotating in the tech.
Okay, so because if the cup is I think cup is moving in thromboelastography, because that's why whenever thromboelastography is sensitive, even if it is placed in a table and that table move, it will cause a problem.
Might be you are right. I'm not sure, but in one rotating cup and one in rotating the needle.
Just a second. Yes, is it what you wanted, Jamil?
This actually showing with some other things, Yes. Crockery.
Okay, I think I am not finding appropriate. Okay, we will move on.
Sending you some-
Yeah, there was one picture below that was graphically shows the abnormalities.
Yes, sir, because abnormalities have been asked in the talks as well.
Just a second. Okay.
Sir, I have sent you in the Viva group some of the pictures.
Yeah.
Which one picture you were saying, Jamil?
As it was, please take some up. I think I have seen.
Sir, I have
Just a second. Which group you have sent?
Viva
Viva
2.
Okay. So this is the normal one.
Yeah, yes. And second one is increase in our time. That means we need FFP here. And the other things are looks normal.
Amplitude is decreased. So
The second one is also of uses of heparin. If heparin is used, then the time of clotting will increase.
Increase, yes, increase the R time. The third one, R time is okay, but the angle is kinetic angle is also low. and
Amplitude is less, yes.
Amplitude is also less. That means we here need
So platelets, yes.
platelets. Yes.
this
So
is
here lysis time is very different.
Hyperfibrillation.
R time is okay, angle is okay, amplitude notable, but lysis throm strength is very weak.
Okay, so this is hypercoagulation.
Yeah, this is very rapid. Our time is very short. Angle is more than 60 to 70. It's like a 90 degree. Very rapidly, increase the amplitude, and there is no lysis. means the time LY30 is also not showing. It's hypercoagulation. It's our DIC first stage.
In DIC first stage, there is hypercoagulable state. Okay. And then
The last one is the when consume all the platelets and all the factors. Our time is also increased. There's low amplitude and very short angle, kinetic angle. Is
so I
last
think
one
this is the common this they can ask. Okay. If you have understood the concept, you can answer, because not necessarily this will come. If you know, don't try to ratify it, don't try to cram it. Okay. So
If we understand the normal one now, we can explain whatever the picture will come.
yes, so this confusion should also be clear. Rotem versus thromboelastography, which moves in moved, does not move. Because I remember that thromboelastography cup is moving, and in Rotem,
Yes, you are right. Yeah, my concept is not too clear. I think yeah, you are right. In tech, there is a rotating cup and rotating the needle.
okay, but basic mechanism is the same. Okay, Zishan.
Yes, sir, got it.
Okay, so let's move on. Actually, this sometimes the topic is so actually this is such a huge topic. There are so many things which can be asked, and practically, not only practically, it's being asked in number way in different exams. Okay, so let's go to some words about
If somebody knows about the different products, the indicator of different, like in RBCs, we are very strict according to the ABO group and another RH factor.
yes.
But,
Rabia, did you prepare
sometimes
this?
so about FFP or
Yes,
platelets,
sir.
we don't care about this thing. If somebody had good concept, just share, please.
Yes, sir. If I have understood him right, he's asking about the reactions with different products in the blood.
Not reaction, where
No,
we
he's
can
talking
give the
about
same group and
cross-match.
RH group. Yeah, cross match.
Which like platelets or crab precipitate or FFPs, how to check the compatibility? Like would you like to do, because there are certain steps. What is cross matching and what is ABO typing and RH compatibility? The blood should be all cross match.
So blood should be cross-matched. Yes.
And the platelets
And-
only, RH matching is done in platelets only. No ABO compatibility is checked.
Okay, and FFPs and crab precipitate.
They can be
Cryo,
they can be given without cross-matching, but ideally, if the cross-matching is done, then it is good. But they can be given without cross-matching.
No, but what about typing? They should they can be given
Cross
from
match is not required for FFP, cryoprecipitate, or platelets. Only the FFPs, they say that it's better to be given according to the ABO compatibility. But if ABO compatibility is not present, they can still be given because there's only a trace amount of RBCs present in it.
Yes.
Okay. So that's how we discussed with Bilal as well, that indirect Coombs test which we do in cross match. Okay, so we are taking the donor RBCs and we are mixing with recipient plasma. Am I right?
Sera plasma.
Serum,
Yes, sir.
yes, serum.
So that's indirect Coombs test. So this is so what about some different blood transfusion complications? Okay, before
Again, hemolytic, non-hemolytic.
There is a yes, not early or late.
I would like you to I just wanted to show you something. Just a second. Okay, you know this link I had sent yesterday as well. So in it you will find all the related material which you can use for the transfusions. I would suggest you to have a look definitely at this one. So number of questions you can quote it. This is AAGBI guideline for blood components therapy. Okay, so a number of questions you can find from here, like a number of time I discussed this thing a number of times. You can just have a look how to how we can minimize the blood transfusion. Okay, so you can just have a quick look. Okay, that's we have discussed multiple times. Okay, then we said 13 hemoglobin in men and 12 in female. Use of cell salvage we discussed. Okay, so I generally I will suggest all of you to at least have a look on the AAGPI guidelines. Okay, different guide, not only this one, and you don't need to read each and every line. You can have some recommendations and main findings. Okay, so I think this is the main recommendations. Okay, so even if you don't want to read the whole of the guideline, even if you just have a look on the recommendations, you actually you will, this will be the essence of what they are telling you. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you know blood transfusion complications are very important, not only practically in exam point of view, and you can differentiate or classify in different way. Like you can classify according to hemolytic versus non-hemolytic, or wrong blood transfusion, or complications of match blood. If the blood is matched, cross match, everything, but still there are some problems which can occur. Okay, you can classify according to early and late. Okay, you can differentiate into different systems, like some metabolic complications, complication related to the blood product itself, and complications related to the preservatives. Okay, so you can classify in different ways. So Asim bhai has not told anything, so please, if you can hand over the question to Asim bhai. I called you before, you did not respond. Dr. Asim is here.
Yes, I'm here. Yes.
So what are the complications will you tell? And you have to tell the reason for it as well. And Rabia,
Yes, okay.
you remain on the background. If anything need to be added, I will ask you.
So the risk of perioperative blood transfusion is like antibody-mediated transfusion reaction. This is the most serious hemolytic reactions caused by ABO incompatibility, and this is due to human error, most probably.
What will you do?
And
if you start a blood, the blood was for other room, and you bring it in your room.
Yeah.
Okay, and suddenly what will happen and how will you manage? First of all, I will start with this, because this can be asked in a number of talk stations for you even, that how to minimize the transfusion of wrong blood. What are the ways? How will you check it?
Okay, this is from the blood bank to the reception. The first step, they are checking together from the blood bank to the reception. The nurse will check, and then from the OR staff, they will check from the reception. Two of the nurses will check this blood, and then they will hand over to the anesthesia technician with the anesthetist. Then we will check together the blood with this the patient number with the.
From where will you check?
From the patient file.
Only patient file may be coming from the other room.
Patient file, yeah, patient file with the patient blood set.
Just Eva, let him speak. Just.
Yeah, ID band of the patient, and with the blood paper also. There is a written name and all the specification for the patient, MR number and all.
Okay. Okay. There, like
Yes.
from the file, not only file patient, you have to identify the
Yes.
patient ID. Okay.
Yes, I
Because
yes.
file can be from the other room. Okay. So then what else?
Okay. Then we will check together with the technician and with us, double check, and he will tell all the medical record number and all the thing for this patient and
You
for the
can
blood group
You can
and
confirm
the
the blood
expiry
group.
date.
You can mention,
Yes.
you can confirm the blood group of the patient as well. Okay. Because
Yes,
there
yes.
can be error.
Blood
You have the correct patient, correct everything,
Yes.
but maybe the blood group is wrong and nobody has seen
Yes.
it. Okay. So this is, and now, for example, again, going back to that, you started a blood. So what should be the ideal way to start it?
So the ideal ways to start the blood is to connect with the warmer, blood warmer,
Okay.
and this blood will be like you can dilute in the normal saline even. And
Why you cannot dilute in ringer lactate?
Because there is this lactate in this finger.
No, this is not the reason.
Calcium is there.
Calcium is there. So what will happen? There is citrate in it. Citrate in it.
Yes,
So,
citrate.
so it can cause hemolysis. It can cause precipitation. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So you can dilute it with normal saline. What will be the advantage of because PRBC? Because we are talking whenever I'm using the word blood, it is actually not blood. It is PRBC. So if you are not diluting, if you are not diluting it in normal saline, what problems you can face?
The circuit can be coagulate.
Coagulate, like the viscosity will be decreased, so blood flow will be improved. Like you in the through the ports, whatever you are with the BT set, the flow will be better. Okay, so
flow will be better.
Easier. What else? What else? This is one thing. You dilute it with normal saline, it is better. Then what else?
Then
actually these are I'm sorry, I'm telling something extra. The number of points are practical, okay, but they are very important. Would you like to fill the chamber of the BT set or no?
Yes.
Why?
Because if we will not fill it, the RBC will rupture.
Yes.
Will lose.
Like if the RBC are jumping from a big space, theoretically, practically, I don't know. We don't know what happens. Yeah, actually, but theoretically, if the RBCs are jumping from a big space, theoretically they can rupture. So it is better to fill the chamber so they are not traveling too much. They don't have a jump. Okay, this is one thing. Another thing, and another thing is what about the filter? How much is the filter size? It is 200 micrometer.
200 micro.
So this is also important. Okay. What else? What else? You started it, and what are the precautions you have to take?
So we checked all the things. We checked the circuit, and we will give this blood to the dedicated one IV line, so that there is no mixture with another fluid or another drug, anything, and we'll start slowly this blood.
Yes. And you should have antihistaminics, steroids, and if the patient is awake, you should have backup all the facility ideally with you. Okay, because blood transfusion reaction will not tell you that it can happen. It can happen. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so coming back to the question that you started, and there is suddenly, yes.
One thing more, sir, that if we are planned or patient required more than two or one blood, then we should give blood one by one, so that we may know that reaction
Which
occurs
blood?
from which blood.
Very valid point. Very valid point. Like we should not start, but in massive hemorrhage, when patient is bleeding like anything, this rule will be bypassed. Unless otherwise, it is advisable to give 1 unit by 1 unit rather than starting with 2 IV lines, 2 different units. Okay, you have a valid point. Okay, okay, Asim bhai, continue please.
Okay, then we'll start with slowly, and then we can
What will be
this
what will be the signs of transfusion reaction immediately? What can happen?
okay, for patient is not under GA, he can tell you this the patient
Unwell.
is bronchospasm,
No,
not
no.
well, and
Asim
he
bhai,
have
please try to improve the words. Patient will not tell
okay,
bronchospasm.
okay. Yeah,
He
no,
will
no.
tell bronchospasm.
That he will tell, yeah. So he will tell that his respiration is becoming difficult, and he have
Yes.
like
Yes.
pain. Yeah.
And what about if GA?
So in the GA, we can see from the hemodynamic goal, like tachycardia and hypotension is the first sign for this.
No. Will it be first sign, or even that? What else can be the first sign? This is because this is not 100% patient is, you are giving blood
Yeah.
not for fun, am I right? Patient will usually be already be tachycardic or hypovolemic. Sorry, hypotensive.
Oh.
That's why you are
Okay.
giving blood.
Yes.
So how can that be the
Yeah.
sign? What else can be the better sign?
Okay, for we can check the urine output.
Urine output will
we can
not be
check there
immediate.
also.
It will take some time.
Yeah.
So you are letting the patient to have hemolysis and have the hematuria. Till that time, you will keep on giving the blood. What should be the first sign?
Okay. The first sign should be a skin. There is a skin
that,
hives or allergy like this.
No, no.
Unexplained tachycardia.
If there is, Rabia, we cannot hear you. Just give him some time, please. Yes. You know, practically just think any anaphylaxis, any allergic reaction under anesthesia is patient is covered. How will you come to know about the rash? Sorry.
The peak airway pressure will increase.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This is the most appropriate answer. Okay, because all other things you can miss. But if you are starting a blood, and suddenly the inspiratory peak pressure increase, this is a sign. Because all other signs, that's why it's very tricky always to give a blood, because you will not be able to know. That's why I always say that start slowly, or check, and then whenever you start, you should have a backup of the possible complications which can occur. Okay, so this is a peak inspiratory pressure raise. Peak pressures will be a sign which is among these signs most reliable. Okay, and for example, if there is hemodynamic instability, the hypotension can be already be there. There will be signs of failure. Okay, so patient can go in pulmonary edema or any heart failure, and then rest of the things which you told. Rash can occur, sweating can occur, hematuria can occur. So what will you do immediately? What will you do?
Stop the transfusion, and we'll start the supportive care accordingly.
Okay.
We'll give antihistamine, and we can give if there's hypotension, we'll start this.
Should you giving me the answer antihistamine to start with? Supportive care, you have to elaborate. Your approach will be airway, breathing, circulation. You will immediately call for help. You will immediately inform the surgeon. You will immediately, like I told you, the word stop. Stop should be there everywhere. Stop the like you are stopping the triggering factor. Am I right?
Yes.
And another mistake which you can done, that you stop the blood, so disconnect the line as well, because if you connect some fluid through the same line, then the same BT set, still you will be giving some more mLs of blood. Okay, so you will stop it, and then according to the scenario, according to the situation you can what will be the first thing in giving in anaphylaxis?
Adrenaline.
Epinephrine. Okay, IV.
Yeah.
Like of course you will give in the algorithm, it is written intramuscular, but in this scenario we'll be giving IV. Okay, And then what else? Then you can say steroids or whatever. Okay, whatever what else is occurring, you will give. So that's because this question can be asked like that in table viva. This question can be asked in OSCE. Okay, how to avoid this scenario and how to manage it. And you will send that as Jamil mentioned, you will send the you will keep the back and you will reconfirm it. This one. You will send the back to the laboratory. Okay. So what else complications can occur immediately? Other than this.
Other than that, there is if you are giving too much, like 2 or 3 units in in short period, there is a transfusion associated, like circulatory overload can be happen.
Okay, this is one.
If you are giving too much, yeah.
What else?
And there is transfusion related acute lung injury is there also.
Okay. Acute lung injury will not occur immediately. So
Not immediate, not
what are the immediate reactions which can occur?
Transfusion associated dyspnea is there also.
Sir,
Overload.
non-hemolytic reactions
Okay.
like febrile reaction, urticarial reaction,
Okay.
anaphylactic reactions,
Okay.
and also graft versus host disease.
This will be delayed.
And-
Delayed. I am talking about the blood reactions which can occur immediately.
Sir,
That's the
immediately
problem.
there is febrile urticaria.
Rabia, be a little loud. And that is the problem when we are trying to reproduce a book. Okay. You are trying to tell what is written in Morgan Sharif.
Sir, I
Immediately.
didn't know,
Immediately 1 out of 10
time.
weekend hemolysis, urticaria, rash, hemodynamic instability. Okay. So after that, there can be hematuria, whatever. So before that, what can occur?
Hyperkalemia, sir?
Hypothermia can occur before that. If
Yeah,
Maybe
hypothermia
coagulopathy?
is there we are not if we don't give blood through the warmer. Or most of the time we give we need a massive transfusion. Also in all these complications, citrate toxicity, hypocalcemia, hyperkalemia, and hyperkalemia when we give long stored blood more than 2 weeks or 3 weeks, then there is a risk of hyperkalemia.
Just
about
give
coagulopathy?
me a minute. Just continue. You can continue. Jamil, tell each complication with the reason. Just a second.
No, as I told that, hypothermia only if we give fast plus without the warmer. I mean, we bypass the warmer, then rapidly, it develops as hypothermia. Other things, the allergic reaction also, because of if we give the whole blood or blood products, then there is risk of allergic reaction other than acute hemolytic reaction. Citrate already I told, if also we give rapidly with massive transfusion, then the liver is unable to metabolize the citrate to lactate, then it's a risk of also citrate toxicity, or it will as a chelating effect the calcium in the plasma, then it will be hypocalcemia, and related that hypocalcemia will be the sinus symptoms like hypotension, and some cardiac arrhythmia also.
So just I guess what I want to tell that actually if even whenever they are asking you this question, what are the complications which can occur with blood transfusion? If you are telling in this way, in number one, you will not forget anything. Okay. Number two, it will be in such a systematic way that it will look very good. Okay. Like the problems, the problems which can occur immediately, you tell them first, and then from there on you will go. Okay. So electrolyte imbalance can occur immediately if you are giving massive blood transfusion and you are not replacing calcium, or you are not taking care of potassium. This can create a problem. Yes, usually we give blood warm, but you have to tell, like you mentioned, that if you are not using the warmer or blood warming device or blood patient warming system, then there will be hypothermia. Okay. Okay, everyone.
Yes, sir.
So Tayyaba, just tell what is the concept of leukodepleted blood?
Sir, this is used basically when there is a risk of the febrile reactions in a patient, and the patient has a history of febrile reactions again and again. So we can use a leukodepleted factors to decrease the incidence of the febrile reactions.
Okay, so how they like make it, like they remove what WBC or what?
Yeah, there are the two ways, sir. They can remove the WBCs along, and we can use a filter for this as well.
Okay. Okay, so immediate complication, did we miss anything, please? Rhabdomyolysis, acute hemolytic reactions, electrolyte imbalance, respiratory problems, signs like anaphylaxis. What else? Now come to the slightly delayed. So what is trolley?
So this is a transfusion related airway injury, I guess.
Acute lung injury. It is just like ARDS, am I right?
Yes, but the time it must be having the history of blood transfusion first.
Yes.
And the time duration between the trolley and the ARDS is different. The trolley can occur after 6 hours, but the ARDS can only start, not strictly can only start after 24 hours, but basically the pathogenesis of the ARDS is a bit late than trolley. Trolley presents earlier.
Okay. Okay. Actually, in real time, you don't need to be in too much details. Okay. You are absolutely right that there can be, but it can mimic. You can say it will be like similar, some sort of similarities like ARDS.
ARDS, yes.
So it's like that. Okay. So what about what else? Like we said, trolley. There is another word, taco.
Yes.
What is taco?
Transfusion associated cardiac overload. This is basically the people who are very weak heart, or in which there is incidence of going into the cardiac overload, and you are transfusing the patient with even a very little amount of blood. They can go into transfusion associated cardiac overload. This is the same as that, the
circulatory overload.
circulatory overload. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, circulatory overload.
Circulatory overload. Okay. So now come again to Rabia, the host versus graft reaction. What is it? Because you use this word.
Sir, this is basically a complication of
A bit loud.
transfusion.
A bit loud, please. Yes.
It is complication of blood transfusion in which towards the cellular blood component contains lymph occurs, and lymphocytes are basically present in the cellular component of the donor, which cause immune suppression in compromised patient. immune modulation, you can say, or immune suppression, further immune suppression in the immunocompromised or some selected patients. Leading to some any immunocompromised state. And for this leukoreduction cells products are used. And also so one thing I want to add, that in leukoreduction, radiation of WPCs are done so that these reactions does not occur.
Okay, so actually this is what you are trying to say is lymphocytes. Okay, so
Yes, sir. It
lymphocytes,
occurs because of lymphocytes
and
in the.
actually there are a number of diseases actually which are associated with the human leukocyte antigen. Okay,
Okay, sir.
so
Sir,
HLA.
trolley is also basically done by human leukocyte antigen antibodies in the donor plasma. And trolley specifically occurs with platelets and FFPs.
Okay.
So it is not specifically, the incidence is more with FFPs because the plasma is more in FFPs.
In FFPs, yes.
Yes.
There are two questions. Is the graft versus host disease only for the transplanted organs, means when there's a graft inside the body, or it can happen without a transplanted organ?
No, actually blood, when we are giving, actually this is also sort of graft or transplant actually.
Right. And what can be strategies can be used to reduce the incidence of trolley?
Trolley leukodepletion.
Yes.
Leukodepletion is one of the strategy.
That leukodepletion don't decrease the incidence of trolley. This is what I remember.
No,
But the
actually,
same thing, leukodepletion doesn't do it. One thing they said that remove the the donor whose blood has caused trolley. We have to remove it from the blood banks.
actually,
Don't
then
use the female donors.
because
women donors.
I have never seen these things, so I forget the thing which you do. You see, I'm just reading from article. Okay, it's written here. Universal leukodepletion strategies to reduce the hazards. So this is TACO. You have to give like calculated doses and carefully and monitoring and signs of overload. This is trolley. Universal leukodepletion, pooled plasma donations to dilute any antibodies present. Exclusive use of male donors. I actually I don't mention everything because these are the useless things. Among them, I think this is the only thing which looks good. Leukodepletion. Male donors, I don't think so that it will cause any advantage. Filters and leukodepletion. Avoid blood transfusion to start with. The best way to avoid any complications is don't give it. Right? Okay. So,
So one thing I
yes.
want to add, sir, the non-hemolytic reactions which occur like febrile, urticarial, and anaphylactic reactions, they are the incidence of febrile reactions are because of WPCs and platelets.
Okay.
And the
Urticaria.
urticaria reactions are basically done mostly by plasma proteins. And anaphylactic reactions are due to that they occur mostly in IgA deficient patients. And trolley is related to HLA antibodies in the donor plasma. And graft versus host, we discussed that due to lymphocytes. And that PTP is due to allo antibodies against the platelets. These were the
Actually, there
reasons
is a
that.
mnemonic which you are telling is FUNPAGI. FUNPAGI.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
F
sir.
for febrile reaction, U for urticaria, N for non-hemolytic. What's that? Non-cardiogenic pulmonary edema.
Yes, sir.
I'm just trying to recall. And P for purpura. P for purpura.
Yes, sir. A for
And-
anaphylaxis.
And G for graft versus host, and I for
immunomodulation.
immunomodulation. Okay. So I'm still under the effect of Manhus Morgan Sharif. This is from that. Okay.
But the
So-
concept behind the male donors to avoid the female donors in trolley is because the HLA antibodies, the one which Dr. Rabia have told, that the trolley is because of the HLA antibodies and the HLA antigens in the recipient. The female donors are having more HLA antibodies. This is the concept behind it, which they use to just avoid the use of female donors.
You see, that's the beauty, that if you try to find the reason, you will not forget it. Okay. So because not even someone who is reading the articles, don't try to memorize each and everything, because you will not be able to reproduce it. Okay. But it is always good to find the reason. Okay. This is we say for religion as well. Try to find some reason, some genuine reason for it. Only for religion, yes, even if you don't find a reason, you have to follow it. But if for academics, if you're trying to find the reason, it will be easier, that you will not forget it. Okay. So that's what I always tell, that don't try to reproduce the books. Don't try to reproduce a source. You will be caught, because you cannot explain everything. This is the only thing which I will tell you. Okay. So some of the complications which are left are this one.
Sir, these are infectious diseases, viral, bacterial, and parasitic diseases.
Okay, and this is iron load. Okay, iron load, which we did discuss that even in the thalassemia, which we told, that's the frontal bossing, and which Bilal yesterday, day before yesterday, corrected us, because I was saying thalamic faces for the maxillary, but it is the frontal bossing. Anyways, the basic concept is that the iron is depositing in the tissues. Okay. So what else? If you just try to make in a system, you will not forget. What are the causes for hyperkalemia when you are giving blood, stored blood?
Because the red blood cell lies
Old stored
to
blood.
the passage of time, and then it's
Yes, for any reason.
Let's say, Dr. Najib, the cells are bags of
Potassium. So when the bags are ruptured, that's why any cell when ruptured, potassium will come out. So this is the reason. And another thing is that because I practically faced, I got embarrassment. So now I don't forget that I try to cancel a case on the basis of slightly more potassium without any reason. Okay. And actually this was hemolysis. So if you are taking the sample, if it is hemolyzed sample, sometimes the potassium will be high. Okay. So that's important clinically as well, that you have to correlate everything. You don't treat the numbers. If there is high potassium, you have to see, is there any clinical condition related to it? Then you have to correlate with the ECG as well. And you have to repeat it. Okay. So and this is the very favorite question for MCQs, which is the most transmissible blood-borne infection. In many different books, it is written different. I think hepatitis B. Am I right?
B is more and C is the lethal one. Yes.
Okay. So they have written hypothermia, and they will ask you what is how will you label massive massive transfusion?
If the amount equivalent to the whole blood of a person is transfused within 24 hours, we can label it massive transfusion. Other thing is, if 50% of the blood is replaced in 3 hours, we can also call it massive transfusion.
In 1 hour.
Actually, you can tell the answer that there is no universal pinpoint definition of massive transfusion. Okay. This is according to the scenario, and it can be defined in different ways. If you are given full volume in that time and half volume in that time, and in 1 hour you have transfused that much unit, so it will all considered as massive transfusion. Am I right?
Right.
Okay,
Yes,
Zisha?
sir.
So actually, I would like to show you this thing. Actually, this article is very, very good. You know, I tell you, when I was doing the exams, believe me, I have not read these articles fully. But I just think that if I had these sources and someone would be bashing at me, making me, trying to pull me away from Morgan or any specific book or cramming, believe me, the things would be different, because I studied and I worked really hard later on in my career. And because I learned a lot by the discussions. Okay. So different people have different way of learning. But these articles, actually, they are very good source. They are compiling everything. They are very methodical and they are very authentic. Majority, you will find the things which are updated and authentic. Okay, but again, don't try to ratify each and everything. Okay, you don't try to, especially in Viva, don't try to tell everything. Even if you do, try to be a little lag behind. Okay. Okay, so they have tell this treatment options as well, how to manage. Okay, those are the same thing which we have discussed. Anaphylactic, they have written, you see, crystallide and whatever they have written, the same things. Okay, bacterial contamination, saline infusion, cardiorespiratory support, and with inotrope. TACO, they have made it with the, you have to do diurese the patient. They have not written here inotrope. It should be inotrope as well. Am I right? In TACO. Do we need inotrope?
Yes, sir, depending on the hemodynamics of the patient.
Yeah, but usually, you see, that's what I tell you, that it doesn't mean that this article is wrong. Okay. But they have written here cardiorespiratory support as necessary. Okay. So this is telling you that maybe the patient need intubation. Maybe the patient need inotropes. Okay. So you have to, sometimes you have to extract things, and basic concept never change. Okay. So I think anything else? Transfusion related infections, bacterial contamination. Okay. So, you know, we try to cover as much aspects of the blood and blood products transfusion. Okay. So we will continue from here tomorrow. Okay. Any questions before we finish?
Thank you, sir.
So yeah, I would suggest you, if you want to cover this topic, because actually this is another source which actually recently, maybe a few months ago, I've taken. This is anesthesia and intensive care medicine. This is also a very good source, and I am unable to put them in different folders. Okay, so but it is there in the main another, because it's separate. I'm not able to integrate it into this up till now. Okay, some of the units I have already done. So actually it's very difficult. I just sent this link and people don't even open it. So it's real disappointment for me. So it is needing, you know, it's not self-created. Even I have to change the names. I have renamed majority of the files even. So putting all files in folders and divided, it's really hell of a job. But at least you should do this hell of a job to search it. Okay. So this is, you can find all the topics here. Okay, inshallah, see you tomorrow. And last thing before I go, that the people who have exam on 6th of December, just stay patient, and I will take some separate time for you people, okay, so that I will be focused. But basic thing, remember that the things are the same. Yes, if you are methodical, try to find the method. Zishan, which I shared to you, just try to reproduce. Zishan is already gone. Anyways, inshallah, we will meet tomorrow, same time. Thank you. Bye-bye.